Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shannon Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology coach, and personalized learning coordinator for my district.
And I'm her producer and summer support superstar, Fuzz Martin.
That was a good one.
Thank you. I had to work on that one for a little bit because we did this episode is a continuation of the last one. And it can't just give the same pun every time.
It has to be creative.
Come on, Dad.
Yeah, so here we are, end of season 3.
We're on episode 94, and it's
94.
Like 94 degrees outside right now.
Yeah, so there you go.
That works.
Yeah, except for not you.
I mean, we're in the basement. It's kind of comfy down here.
Yeah, it's cooler. But everyone's kind of shifting to this year end. Either you're done or close to being done, or within a couple of weeks you're going to be done. So our part 2 is going to be similar to part 1, but we're looking at 6-12. So some supports for our older students and some fun things for them to do over the summer. Just like, I don't know how many of you went geocaching, maybe over the Memorial Day weekend, or if you've explored the geocaching in your neighborhood.
Maybe.
You should go try it out if you haven't been geocaching. So this week and our season finale here, we have a couple of new sites and a couple of review sites. Like, hey, these are ways you can use some of this information. And just kind of wrapping everything up for our season here, which is crazy.
It is. We'll be on season 4 next time you hear from us.
We will be. We'll probably pop in at least once over the summer, maybe like mid-July, to kind of check in with everybody. And then we'll fire up again in the fall like we usually do when school starts again.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone enjoys their break. So with that, part 2 of our summer support we have. So we're going to talk, the first site is about vocab. And I know that we don't really want to talk about vocabulary over the summer, but at some point, some students need some vocabulary practice. And even if it's 10 minutes a week, throwing a site at them, if we're talking 6-12, they can play it on their phones if they want to. And it's a site that I've used for a really long time and just never talked about it. It's vocabtest.com. And the site seems very straightforward. It's just kind of some colored squares and you look at it and you're like, what is this? But it's really useful. I use it in my classroom as a game. I make it into a game with my students where there's whiteboards and they're holding up answers and things like that. But a student can play by themselves completely online. What's nice is that it's challenging vocab, and it goes from 6th grade through your senior year or an AP type senior. So there's advanced vocabulary. It's not just words that students use all of the time. So how it works, it's kind of cool. They have their little yesterday's most missed word adverse. And then it'll give you the definition of how many people mess that one up. So just teaching you vocab that other people are struggling with too. But then also what's kind of cool is that you choose, so you go to grade level. So you pick your grade level, let's say freshman. And once you do that, you can pick a unit and you can click more than one unit at a time. Usually there's 10 questions per unit. But if you pick 2 units, you have 20 questions. But you can pick whatever units that you want to challenge yourself with. You can test your checked units. Once you get past that, it will give you a list of the vocabulary that you're going to be checking or practicing with or, becoming familiar with. So for freshman year vocabulary, they have compensate and expulsion and fodder and fortify. So you have you see what words you're actually going to be working with. Then students can, when they play, they can choose if they want reverse sentences, learning definitions, synonym practice, reverse. So they kind of pick the activity that they want to do, or there's some games in there too if they choose to sign up. And they click on it, and then literally it's multiple choice practice. What I like about this is that it gives them back to you if you get it wrong.
Yep.
So it's not just multiple choice, click through the whole thing, whatever, and then move on.
Yep.
And so I use this in my classroom when it's more gamified, where yeah, they're questions with multiple choice answers, and that's not ideal always, but when it comes into testing situations and like ACT prep, they come in multiple choice whether we want them to or not.
Sure, yeah.
So this is just going to be vocabulary practice, like straight, choose your letter, and on the bottom it'll give you your score. So actually there's 20 words per unit, I should say. So like 1 out of 40. If I get it right, it says great, move on. And if you get it wrong, you can try again. So it'll like, nope, wrong, nope, wrong, nope, wrong. Pick the right answer, great, it moves on to the next one, but it will come back to you if you get it wrong. You also then can choose to save the activity that you're doing. As long as you're logged in, it will save your progress. So there's different activities to choose. It's a great way to practice vocab that is not difficult to set up. Literally, students just go to the site. They can choose their word list. You could even challenge them. They can send screenshots to you of their scores if you really want them to, or it's just give them the site and they can practice their vocabulary. Suggest, 10, 15 minutes a week. And they can kind of do games with it if they want to, or just do some practice. They also have spelling in there, multiple choice. And again, it's at higher grade levels, which is nice since it's 6th through high school.
Sure.
Versus just, there's a lot of these activities usually for K-5 and you don't get them in 6-12. So I think it's a great way for students to to practice some of their vocabulary over the summer in a easy to function in space. They also have, if you go back to their homepage, besides grade levels and you can choose your testing, they also have things based on the SAT, and then various other activities that you can build them into. So vocabtest.com, there's more to it than just multiple choice questions. So you can kind of play around with that. And it looks like you're playing. You look like you're intently.
I'm taking an AP English exam right now for 12th grade AP English. Which word best completes the sentence? A or an blank situation would be one in which it resembles something else but isn't quite so. Morass, poltroon, supine, quasi, or vignette. I'm going to say quasi. And I'm correct. Thank you.
Good
AP,
job.
I'm going to get some credits.
Yes.
Oh.
But yeah, so it's easy. You can jump right in and practice, and you can still kind of see where you're at. And it's a nice way for students to kind of get some review. And over the summer, that's low pressure.
Very good.
Yes. So vocabtest.com. Our next site we've talked about a little bit before, actually not too long ago, is here, since we live in Wisconsin, it's wisconsin.pbslearningmedia.org. Obviously, you can swap it out between states and locations. But again, there's this ginormous resource for students if you want them. I know some students have summer reading that they need or required to do, or certain math things, or even if your students are in summer school or you're doing some tutoring, this site is so helpful and just has so many resources that students can watch videos about different concepts that they aren't unfamiliar with. There are interactive lessons that they can practice. So maybe if there's something that they were stuck on, but it covers topics from science to social studies to math, health and physical education, professional development for teachers if you need it, language arts, engineering and technology, world languages, the arts. There's just so many different categories that you as a teacher can use for professional development to kind of go through and learn some new things. Or you can share it with your students for, like I said, summer school or tutoring, or just share some of the cool things. Like if you go under arts and you click on music, there's videos on different composers, there's different types of music, and kind of sharing that with your students and letting them explore maybe different musical forms and things like that. It's just kind of a cool site to explore when you have time and when your students kind of have some time over the summer too. And it can be a great way for them to review concepts that they are interested in, maybe some inquiry learning.
And maybe, hey, do for every 10 minutes of video, you can watch 10 minutes of your TikTok or something. If you're just sitting around.
Build a TikTok based on the video you just watched.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. There's all kinds of ways that you can incorporate this and just expose students to maybe some new things. It's kind of cool. It's just a reminder. It's a really great site to
Yes.
to read.
Yes, it's a very, very content-rich site for sure.
Yes. So on to some other ways for students to be interacting over the summer. DIY.org. You can join for free. Students can join for free. And what's really cool is that it is like a creative site. You can take classes over the summer.
Yeah.
From like inventing your own machines to animating to poetry to it's free all summer.
How to start your own YouTube page.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's free through August 31st, and there's always parts of it that are free, but you're able to. They have a whole coming soon. Well, they have Minecraft, like the Minecraft video show. They have Lego, build anything with Lego bricks. They have a baking one that's coming soon, photography, secrets of drawing, cooking, camp, DIY. So they're all kinds of interactive activities where students get a video and then they can create the project and get inspired and share with others. Like in the DIY, there's 7 different there's 23 different projects. You can pull it up on your phone or you can pull it up on a computer. Kids can sign in separately, but it's a great way for kids to be interacting over the summer and creating new projects and just doing all kinds of cool hands-on things or inspiring them to do their own hands-on stuff. And they can earn badges if they're signed in and things like that. But what a cool way for kids to be able to learn some new skills over the summer. Between like art, they have like a whole makerspace kind of thing, designing, engineering, science, fitness, and all of these different challenges that students can do. And they can meet those challenges from astronomy to ASL to architecture. There's just so many cool ways for kids to create projects and interact with different activities and getting them moving and doing different cool stuff.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
I love a good DIY site. So.
Agreed. I like the homepage. It says the TV is off and the DIY is on.
Yes. Yeah.
Or at least on my homepage. I don't know. It looks like a testimonial. So.
Yes. Yeah, and they've got upcoming live videos too, which is cool. So like do bug style yoga. It'll be June 5th at 10 a.m. in 18 hours. So there's just like cool different things that like live videos versus other, and they also have like Among Us, like gaming Sundays. Yeah, so it's just kind of a cool way to interact with others and create some cool stuff. And speaking of creating, so that one's DIY.org.
Yep.
We have mentioned in the past that I wanted to bring up was Instructables.com because they have loaded in a whole bunch more. I feel like I talked about this at the end of last season too. But it was episode 60, I think is when I talked about it last. But Instructables has loaded all kinds of new Instructables into their site for in different categories. I feel like they've even upped their categories where now they have like an outside category. So you got backyard, what you can do on the beach, what you can do with your bikes, you can do birding, you can do boats, you can do camping. And then all the different projects that you can build and create and try. They have a whole section on launchers.
Okay.
So a candy cannon, a Tic Tac gun, a tower launcher, a 3D printed bottle rocket launcher, straw flyers, Nerf dart earplugs, Nerf dart drink holder. Ooh. There's all kinds of cool stuff. So like pick a category, literally it's outside and the category is launchers. Birding, if you want to do things with birding, there's bird houses, there's bird incubators, there is open face bird feeder. I don't even know what that is. There's so many cool things. So pick a category.
Some birds prefer open face sandwiches.
I suppose. Yeah. Hey, candied pecans. Those need to be made this week and cooking.
Yes.
First one.
Boom.
Rainbow swirl bread also going to happen this summer. So Instructables has upped their game. I feel like maybe because people have been home more, they've added more content.
Sure.
But there are so many cool things on Instructables that definitely your middle school, high schoolers could handle creating and designing, and then creating a TikTok video about how they did it and how cool they are. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, maybe we can get the kids to build me a new desk. Maybe we can get them to build us a podcast studio.
Ooh, let's put them to work.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
But yeah, so Instructables.com, again, find your category. So you go to the homepage, you find your category, and then find something you're interested in, and go ahead and go create, because there's all kinds of cool things to create. So we've got vocab, we got a little content of everything, and then some DIY and some Instructables. And I think that besides sitting outside and doing nothing, or reading a book, or watching a movie, or relaxing, which is what most people just need to do, here's a few things to keep you kind of entertained too. Also, if you are looking to do some professional development,
a
little PD,
learn it up. So this is for those of you who are listening right now in early June 2021.
So if you're listening June and July.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this if it's the year is 19 if the year is 19 something, you found a time machine. Congratulations. But if you're listening in, let's say it's 2022 or even September of 2021, these have already happened. But stay tuned and follow Shanna on Twitter at SpartanWI, because you never know when she'll be doing some new sessions.
But we haven't even told them what the sessions are.
I know. So I just want to say, all right, we've got it teed up.
So I am doing some summer professional development through our CISA 6 in Wisconsin. And you can sign up for the summer PD registration through either CISA 6 or through smartandwi.com. There's a giant red button that says summer PD registration. And I'm doing professional development on various tech tools. So not just talking about them like I do on the podcast, but then actually going in through and showing some examples. And they're webinars. So even though they're through a CISA 6 in Wisconsin, you can access them. You can sign up through CISA. And then they have the registration fees and all that kind of stuff. And then from there, you can be anywhere in the world and join me. They're 1-hour webinars. And I know my district, we have professional development that we are required to do. But we get to pick and choose. So they will all be digital. So they're webinars on different digital tools. So presentations, we're going to do some cool creative writing tools, some digital whiteboard highlights and how to use them in various ways, gamifying your classroom, some virtual field trips and inquiry learning, and then enhancing lessons with digital creative tools. So those, I will be giving 6 webinars through CISA 6. And like I said, on smartandwi.com, if you want to register, you just hit Summer PD registration and you can sign up for whichever ones you're interested in if you would like to. But yeah, so I'll be doing that this summer. So the podcast, we always kind of break in the summer, but I'll be doing webinars this summer. And I'll probably throw a podcast in somewhere in mid-July, end of July, to kind of check in with everybody over the summer. So that is a whole lot of what's going on. But the biggest thing over the summer, relax.
Yes.
It has been a year. So take some time to just do what you want to do, for sure.
You made it.
Made it. Happy season 3.
Next year's another year. It'll all be good.
It will be. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate all of you and all of the things that you have been doing in your classrooms. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Twitter at SmartNWI. And if you want to get more information on the links to the technology discussed in this episode, visit smartandwi.com. New episodes will be starting in September. Thanks for listening. Go educate, go innovate, and go take a nap.
The ideas and opinions expressed on this podcast and the Smart and WI website are those of the author Shanna Martin and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed on this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as described, but we hope they do, and we hope you have a great summer. We'll talk to you in September on the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.